Before I start, yes, I want to address a couple of things. I know the lighting's a bit different, but I've had to shift my entire setup into the living room because my laptop's decided not to connect to the internet in my bedroom anymore. So I'm going to rejig the entire setup. This is the first time I'm using just natural daylight, so that's a positive. Second part, yes, I am wearing a hat. My hair is quite long. I've not got my hair cut till Saturday with the kids, so I always feel a bit self-conscious when my hair gets too long. And also, me being self-conscious is a nice little segue to what I'm going to talk about in this video. This is based on a report I heard on Capital Radio yesterday in the UK, which said that according to the latest statistics, the use of AI for help with mental health issues has risen by up to a third. And the reason that I want to talk about this is for two reasons. One, you know that I dabble with AI. And two, you also know that I have severe mental health issues. So I thought I would give my 2 cents or 2 pennies, because we are not in the US, to talk about this issue and maybe talk about the good points and the bad points around it. Because believe it or not, I'm not totally going to side with AI on this. So let's get into it. We'll start with some of the pros around it. And it's the help for people with mental health issues. There are lots of support services out there for people with mental health issues, but sadly, they are getting more and more difficult to access for those who really need it, or even those who just have one-off blips and need that support. It's becoming increasingly difficult because budgets are getting slashed left, right, and centre in the year of our Lord 2025. But it's not just been 2025, it's been going on for years now. I first got diagnosed properly with my mental health issues in 2010, and it took me 2 years to really admit to myself and accept that I had those issues. So from 2012 up until the time of this recording, I was dealing with mental health issues, and I'll always deal with mental health issues for the rest of my life. That's sadly the way the dice has rolled for me. And it's the challenge, it's a struggle. And even then, it was a nightmare to try and get the relevant support services. They have come on in the intervening years. I am not saying that they haven't, but it's still difficult. We've been in a mental health crisis a lot longer than we've been in any other types of crisis. Financial, budgetary, COVID pandemic. We were in a crisis for mental health for decades. Longer than that, because it was never an issue. It was never a thing, because it was never talked about or given any light. People just thought we were characters, or we were just a little bit wonky in the head. And believe me, I had a lot worse called to me when I first revealed my mental health diagnosis. Saying that I was fucking nuts in a staff meeting was one that definitely sprung to mind. So any extra help that we can get for people to deal with their mental health issues in a positive way, the better. And it brings me to my next point. And it's the point that people were probably going to come at me in the comments for, which is why I always disable them. AI has no emotional standpoint to assume bias. When you have a counselor, when you have a therapist, any type of mental health support groups, there's always the human emotion there. There is the thing of my problems can't be that bad because someone's going through a situation way worse than I am. Or other people will think, if you think that your problems are bad, wait till I tell you about mine. Now, these are done in the positive intentions that they're meant to be. Trying to help people realize the gravity of their situation maybe isn't as bad as what some people go through. That's fine. I understand that. I respect that. But when you're in that mental health space where you're so down and you're so dark, everything is a challenge. Everything is an issue because it's your issues. They are your problems that you need to solve. And it's tough. But with the AI counseling, there's no emotional standpoint for it to default to of toughen up, your life ain't that bad. Because an AI has no emotions. It presents cold, hard facts with a little bit of forced empathy, because that's how the AIs have been programmed and trained. But they present you with logic, reason, and alternative solutions to help you get out of the spirals and the funks that you are in. Now, I have used AI for some kind of crisis mental health talks in the past. The start of 2025, I had labyrinthitis, which means I couldn't get to my local support group for 4 months. I had to use AI because I couldn't talk to my wife, I couldn't talk to my family. I felt like I was being a burden. And it was a help. It was a stopgap measure. It presented the facts in the cold light of day and helped me process what I was having trouble understanding. So it's a great tool to have if you're stuck and if there's no other options available to you. And it might not even be a case of like me with labyrinthitis and not being able to leave the house. Some people are terrified to go to support groups or go to their doctors or GPs. They see it as a sign of weakness or just general fear of being outside. I'm terrified to go outside and mix with other people. Why do you think I do most of my content creating from a house or a flat? I do that because I struggle so bad with social interaction and social skills. I put up a front from acting, but there's only so much you can take. So anything that can be used to help people deal with their mental health in a positive and constructive way, I am all for. Adapt any technology that you can into it because we need it. We need more help for mental health services, not less. But there's also some negatives, and they're negatives that a lot of people will worry about. The first one being is the impact it's going to have on current mental health services. I mentioned in a previous video that AI could take some jobs, maybe in the performance industry, because that's where it's mainly being highlighted and addressed, but it's going to affect everyday jobs as well. If an AI can treat mental health issues better than a counselor or a therapist, they might strip back those services even more. And in turn, people that don't use technology or use AI, like older generations, are being deprived of a service that could really help them because the older generations need that social interaction. They need a person at the end of the phone rather than a machine. And I totally respect that. So it's a massive risk going down this road that we're already going down. And I know that I said that the human interaction can be fraught with bias. I stand by that because it's true. But for older generations, that helps them put their lives into perspective. If they hear that someone else is either struggling the same way that they are or going through worse, it does help them get out of their funks. I've seen it before in groups that I've attended where you listen to someone's problems and what they're going through, and you think, wow, I don't feel like talking now because nothing that I say seems relevant. You should say it though, because the problems are your problems. If they're relevant to you, they are relevant. But for older generations, those type of things do give your head a little shake and put things back into perspective. So having human interaction, while a negative for some, is a massive mental health boost for others. And I would never deprive someone of that. And I think the key negative around it is it just wades into this man versus machine debate even more. It's going to cause even more division. People are going to get more upset about it. Battle lines are going to be drawn even more solid rather than having a neutral stance. You'll either be pro AI therapy because it takes the emotion out and solves the problem, or you'll be anti AI because you need social and human interaction sometimes to give you a better perspective on your life situations. It's creating a further divide in a world right now where there doesn't seem to be middle grounds, no kind of shades of grey or no neutral point that people can go to feel safe and not feel attacked. That leads to more abuse, which will lead to more mental health problems, which will lead to more people looking for mental health services or the AI counselling services. So, one way or another, this is having an impact. And the ball is already rolling. We can't stop it because it's already happening. So, my thoughts, as much as people are going to disagree, is go with the neutral stance. Go with the point in the middle. You're going to need mental health support at some point in your life. Sad, but true. Depending on how well you cope with situations, you may need a little bit more help or you might need a little less help. And there's nothing wrong with either. Everybody needs help at some point in their lives. And you would rather that you tell someone what's going on or even talk to an AI about it if you don't feel like you're comfortable speaking to a GP, a family member, a support group. As long as you get the issues out and you feel better afterwards, that's the key goal here. We need that. Thanks for watching, everybody, and take care.